In our later years, when we begin to reflect deeply on the nature of relationships and life, one fundamental truth emerges. Attachment is the root cause of suffering. According to Buddhist teachings, letting go of attachments, including our relationships, is the key to attaining true peace of mind. Today, we will explore why letting go of certain friendships in our later years can lead to a more peaceful and fulfilling life. The question arises, is it better to step back from certain friendships as we age? Let's delve into this thought-provoking concept together. The weight of attachment in relationships. As we approach the later stages of life, our perspective on relationships often shifts. Retirement, the independence of children, and other life changes can lead us to reassess our social circles. In Buddhism, it is taught that attachment, whether to things or people, is a primary cause of suffering. Attachment arises from our desires, and in relationships, this manifests as expectations and dependencies that can ultimately burden our hearts. When we are young, we often form bonds based on common interests, proximity, or necessity. But as we grow older, these relationships might no longer serve the same purpose. In some cases, these connections might even become a source of stress, obligation, and anxiety. The pressure to maintain these friendships out of a sense of duty or fear of loneliness can create unnecessary strain on our well-being. The concept of non-attachment in Buddhism. In Buddhism, attachment is seen as one of the three poisons that cloud the mind and prevent us from experiencing true peace. These poisons, attachment, anger, and ignorance, are the sources of our suffering. When we hold on to relationships out of fear of being alone or a desire to be liked, we become trapped in a cycle of emotional dependency. In the later years of life, it is natural to want to preserve the relationships we have spent a lifetime building. However, Buddhism teaches that true freedom comes not from clinging to the past, but from the ability to let go. As we age, we are reminded that everything is impermanent. The bonds we once shared with people can change, just as we ourselves change. Understanding this impermanence allows us to let go of unhealthy attachments and embrace a more peaceful, independent existence. The burden of obligatory friendships. The relationships we maintain out of obligation can weigh heavily on us as we age. We may feel compelled to keep up with social gatherings, respond to every invitation, or stay in touch with people we no longer feel aligned with. This sense of obligation can turn what should be a source of joy into a source of stress. For many, especially in the later years, these required interactions can contribute to feelings of exhaustion and resentment. When we maintain friendships that no longer nurture us, we are not just wasting our time, we are wasting our energy. The Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of right relationships, which are those that bring peace, joy, and mutual respect. Relationships that cause stress or drain our energy are not right for us. By stepping back from these relationships, we can free ourselves from the emotional burden that they create and make room for the things that truly bring us happiness. The power of solitude. In Buddhism, solitude is not seen as a negative state, but as an opportunity for self-reflection, growth, and inner peace. The practice of meditation, which is central to Buddhist teachings, is often done in solitude. By being alone, we can confront our true selves without the distractions or expectations of others. This process of self-discovery is essential to living a fulfilling and peaceful life. As we grow older, we may feel the pull of loneliness, but Buddhism teaches us to reframe this feeling. Loneliness, in the Buddhist sense, is not an absence of others, but an opportunity to connect more deeply with our inner world. It is through solitude that we can reconnect with what truly matters in life, our own well-being, our personal growth, and our inner peace. Letting go of relationships that no longer serve us opens up the space for this deeper connection with ourselves. Releasing the fear of being alone. One of the greatest obstacles to letting go of attachments is the fear of being alone. Many people fear that if they don't maintain their friendships or keep up with social obligations, they will end up isolated and lonely. This fear is deeply ingrained in our society, where social connections are often seen as a measure of our worth. However, Buddhism teaches that we are never truly alone. The essence of Buddhism is the interconnection of all things. While we may physically be alone at times, we are never isolated from the greater web of life. Our thoughts, feelings, and actions are all part of the larger interconnectedness of existence. When we let go of our attachment to people and relationships, we are not abandoning others. We are simply freeing ourselves to be at peace with the present moment. Embracing the present moment. The teachings of Buddhism stress the importance of living in the present moment. As we age, it becomes even more crucial to embrace the now rather than getting caught up in past memories or future anxieties. In letting go of past relationships or the need for social approval, we are freeing ourselves to experience life more fully in the present. Every moment becomes an opportunity to savor life's simple pleasures, whether it's a quiet walk in nature, a cup of tea, or the warmth of the sun on our face. By shifting our focus from maintaining relationships out of habit or fear to living authentically in the present, we can find a deep sense of peace and contentment. Buddhism teaches us that true happiness does not come from external sources, but from within. When we release the need for constant social validation, we open ourselves up to the joy of simply being alive. Finding new, meaningful connections. Letting go of attachment to old friendships does not mean cutting ourselves off from all social interactions. It simply means that we prioritize quality over quantity. In Buddhism, there is a concept called right association, which refers to the importance of surrounding ourselves with people who support our spiritual growth and well-being. As we age, we may find that our previous circle of friends no longer aligns with our values or interests. This is a natural part of life. When we let go of the relationships that no longer serve us, we make space for new, more meaningful connections. These new friendships are not based on obligation or past history, but on mutual respect and shared values. By seeking out new connections that enrich our lives, we can continue to grow and learn, even in our later years. The joy of freedom. One of the greatest gifts of letting go of attachment is the freedom it brings. When we stop clinging to relationships out of fear, duty, or habit, we create space for freedom, freedom to live life on our own terms. This freedom allows us to pursue our passions, explore new interests, and live authentically. We are no longer bound by the expectations of others or the need to conform to social norms. In Buddhism, freedom is not about escaping from the world. It is about freeing ourselves from the attachments and desires that bind us. By letting go of attachment to people, we liberate ourselves to experience life more fully and authentically. Conclusion: the path to true peace. In our later years, letting go of attachment is not about rejecting relationships or becoming isolated. It is about freeing ourselves from the burdens of unnecessary expectations and obligations. By practicing non-attachment, we can cultivate a life of peace, freedom, and joy. Buddhism teaches that the path to true happiness lies not in clinging to the past, but in embracing the present moment with an open heart. As we grow older, it is essential to remember that we are not defined by the number of friends we have or the social roles we play. Our true worth lies in our ability to connect with ourselves and live authentically. By letting go of attachment, we open ourselves up to a deeper, more fulfilling life. So, let go of what no longer serves you. Embrace the present moment and find peace in the freedom that comes with non-attachment. Conclusion: The teachings of Buddhism guide us to a life of simplicity, peace, and true happiness. In letting go of attachments to relationships and external expectations, we make room for a life filled with inner peace, self-love, and genuine connections. Embrace the freedom that comes from letting go and live your later years with authenticity and joy.